Congressman, I want you to know I tried to join World War II under my father's name. I tried to get in under my father's name, but I was just a little bit too short. All right? Now, before I bring up John Amos, would you please join us up here, please, please. This is our special guest of honor, John Amos. Now, see, we got stars up in here. This is almost like the Veterans Academy Awards. You know what I'm saying? No, Ralph, everybody was not in the Air Force.
Some of us really served.
Or even if we didn't serve, most of us had both feet on the ground. All right? Now, the only thing I want to say before I bring John Amos up to do the roll call is that one critical thing I want to point out about Congressman Stokes' remarks is that, did you notice it was veterans who were elected officials that created the Congressional Black Caucus? Did you notice that? Louis Stokes, World War II. Charles Rangel, Korea. John Conyers, Korea. Bill Clay, Korea. Did you notice that? Yes. Did you notice that the leadership that they developed in the military allowed them to realize, like we do, that in a unit, rather than as an individual, we have more strength. I see some of you nodding kind of, yeah, well, that makes a little sense. So we can honestly say, that we are an extension of the work that veterans have done with the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, that was the first part. The second part was, did you hear that the major pieces of legislation affecting Black America has been generated by the Black Caucus? All right? Did you hear that? Now, I say that because clearly their visions and dreams and the sense of responsibility that they had went far beyond just veterans. I didn't hear them say that, they created this just for veterans because I served in a segregated army and I was meted out some indignities and so it was all about me. It was all about me, my unit, my war, my experience. I didn't hear that. I heard men say that they came and took on the larger agenda of Black America. That's what I heard. Did you hear that? Yeah, so they went beyond themselves in their own personal experience, how good or bad or in between it might have been, to say, I'm going to use my service for the betterment of my community and my people. I almost see if I was a scholar, I'd probably say that's an equation. We could do that as an equation on the blackboard. I'm going to take my service where they tell me I've earned certain rights and privileges, and I'm going to use that for the betterment of my people and my community. All right? I'm going to use that. See, this ain't all about me. This is all about we. This is all about we. And you didn't have to go in the service. But you just as entitled with me. Because, I paid your dues. I paid for you to get in the club called America. In the franchise. All right? I paid your membership. All right? Yeah, we paid your membership. All right? We paid your membership. So that you can have every right, every opportunity, every privilege that everybody else has. All right? So I want to just say that, as the backdrop of what Congressman Rangel, Congressman Stokes, and others would say, that we are a continuation of that. That, yeah, we started out I must admit, I started out, it was all about me when I came back from Vietnam. Heck with you. I ain't got mine. All right? I ain't got mine. So, it's always beautiful to see that we can expand ourselves. Somebody told me about some Maslow's hierarchy of need. Once you ascend up, you can have loftier thoughts and think beyond yourself and do beyond just what gives you immediate gratification. All right? That's me sermonizing. Listen. Listen. All right? But I know time is short, and I'm going to ask that John Amos kind of call the roll, because this notion of we have served in every war, even though we only going back to World War II, to just name some of the units, and I'm going to also add, even though they said just do the military service, but I want to talk about the people that support, because we put together a list of them too. You don't have to read the names, but read a few of them.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's give some love to JJ's dad. And Kunta Kinte, not to be confused with Toby.
Thank you, Ron. Ron has asked me to read the roll call, but before I read the roll call, I wanted to thank Congressman Louis Stokes for being there at the very beginning, for being one of the building blocks, for being part of the foundation, if you would, that all of these benefits and everything else that we are enjoying as veterans, he was there when the original founding blocks were being laid for the foundation of this organization. I want to admonish Ron Armstead for, while you mentioned JJ's daddy as one of my outstanding credits, I'm equally as proud to have portrayed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. As you were. I won't let the fact that I was formerly the Joint Chiefs of Staff go to my head. But you are on report.
Extra duty again.
One of the honors that I've had as being attached to this wonderful Black Caucus was a recognition of the fact that I was a member of the New Jersey State National Guard when it was the 50th Armored Division. Anybody here from New Jersey? All right. 50th Armored Division is now known as the 50th Armored Brigade, and I was fortunate enough to see them when they were recently deployed in the amount of 4,000 troops to the theater of war in Afghanistan, it's quite an event to see 4,000 young men and women lined up on a field getting ready to go into theater. Without any further ado, I will read the roll call. 2221 Negro Infantry Volunteers of World War II. Tuskegee. Stand and take your bow. You deserve it. Tuskegee Airmen. 320 AAA Balloon Barrage Battalion, United States Army. 369th Infantry Regiment, Harlem Hellfighters. Let me see you. 490th Port Battalion, United States Army. 229th Port Company, United States Army. 555th Parachute Infantry. All right. USS Mason, DE 529. All right. 2 Iwo Jima Black Veterans. All right. Red Ball Express. 92nd Infantry Division, World War II. 93rd Infantry Division, World War II. Buffalo Soldiers. All right. Prometheans, World War II. 372nd Infantry Regiment. 366th Infantry Regiment. Units K, West, and B, East, Inc., United States Navy. National Association of Former Stewards and Stewards' Mates, Inc. Montford Point Marines Association. Red. Well done. Red Ball Express, World War II. All right. 9th Ordnance Battalion. Golden 13, World War II. Port Chicago, State of California, World War II. Fort Lawton, State of Washington, World War II. USS Intrepid, Gun Tub Number 10. 6888 Central Directory Postal Battalion, World War II. Prometheans, 761st Tank Battalion. 4132 Quartermasters, U.S. and the United States Army. United States Army Nurse Corps. All right. Bear with me, I don't have too much more here. 503rd Field Artillery Battalion. 1279th Combat Engineers. 272 Infantry Regimental Combat Team Association. 2nd Ranger Infantry Company, Airborne. 715 Transportation Truck Battalion, DCNG. 231st Transportation Truck Company. 726th Transportation Truck Company. 376th Engineer Construction Battalion. 77th Combat Engineers. 630th Ordnance Unit. Did you want any of these read? Yeah. Yes? Yes, the entire list? You got it, boss. And I ain't even getting paid, man. Say it again, sir. 2nd of the 7th, 1st Air Cav, Vietnam. All right. Is there anyone else I've overlooked before we move on? Yes, sir.
World War II Flag Navy veterans of Great Lakes reintegrated in the United States Navy.
God bless you. Sir.
I'd like to
Acknowledge.
the 784th Tank Battalion, which was the 3rd final tank battalion of the 3 black tank battalions of World War II. I'd like to mention in the 758, which seems to have been forgotten. 758 served with the 92nd Division in Italy. I don't know the movie, I'll see what it looks like. I have in my hand an apology from the Department of the Army.
May I? Please. With your permission.
Yes.
This letter from the Department of the Army, dated 16th July 2008, to the veterans of the 784th Tank Battalion. As Chief of Military History and the advisor to the Secretary of the Army and Chief of Staff of the Army on all aspects of Army history and heritage, I want to underline the U.S. Army's pride in recognizing your memorial observance on 16/17 August 2008. The sacrifices of our World War II veterans made the world a better place to live and secured for the nation the peace and prosperity that we have enjoyed in the post-war period that followed. On behalf of the Army, I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge some of the achievements of your unit. After landing in Europe on Christmas Day, 1944, the battalion marched to the front, where it joined the U.S. Ninth Army. From 1 January to 7 February 1945, the battalion fought as part of the 104th Infantry Division, actively defending the Roar River. For the next 3 months, the 784th served with the 35th Infantry Division, where it was instrumental in that division's operations, especially in the capture of Venio in the Netherlands on 1 March, the exploitation from the Rhine bridgehead on 25 March, and the reduction of the Ruhr Pocket in April 1945. In the course of its many engagements, the battalion suffered 140 battle casualties, including 24 dead. Throughout these actions, the 784th faced a determined and deadly enemy whose weapons at the time were equal or superior to their own. Yet the outcome of the final battle was never in doubt. I would also note that as one of the 3 all-black tank battalions in the Army in World War II, that the 784th struggled not only against a malignant foreign regime, but against a U.S. Army that was in the last years of a policy that segregated soldiers and units by race and provided unequal treatment for soldiers of color. The men of the 784th Tank Battalion triumphed in both these arenas. Finally, I offer the grateful thanks of the nation to the men, both living and dead, and to their loved ones who supported them, whose blood, sweat, and tears made possible the accomplishments of the 784th Tank Battalion, U.S. Army. Sincerely, Dr. Jeffrey J. Clark, Director, U.S. Army Center of Military History and Chief of Military History. Hooah! So, I'd like you to acknowledge Arthur Betts, CO, East 395th, 3rd Regiment, 99th Division. Are you here, sir? Give him an ovation, folks. Sir? This is a personal side in regards to history. Some years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting some of the soldiers who were part of the tank battalion that were the first troops to enter into Dachau and Auschwitz. This is something that is horrendous that our history books have left out, that it was African-American tank battalion that opened the gates and freed some of the incredibly mistreated prisoners in the concentration camps. Maybe one day Hollywood will get its stuff together as well as we in the military have gotten its stuff together and show the truth of what happened. But until then, it's up to us to let our young people know we were there, we bled there, we died there, and we're going to keep that history alive. So thank you all for letting me be a small part of this.
My flight is at 1. What time is yours? You got a flight?
I made mine a little later, but you can leave in here if you want.
I got to give the benediction, so Charlie got me locked in.
You got you locked in. I'll be quick.
He wants you.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, Margo.
Yeah, come in. All right. Can we get another round of applause for the Chief of Staff for the military, Pentagon, and White House? All right, they're beating me up here to say we got to roll.
I called you. I said, you did.
We got to roll.
You said, Roscoe, tell me what I said. I called you on himself. Okay.
Everybody want to be with the chief of staff now. Okay, everybody want to be on the chief of staff's roll. All right.
We got to stand by him, too.
I'll see you this evening. Listen, we're going to keep the program moving along. We have a couple more things to do. I would like to have equally a warm welcome for Dr. Roscoe Brown, a Tuskegee Airman of note and fame. Hey!
Greetings, brothers and sisters. As an original Tuskegee Airman, I am so pleased and proud to be a part of that list of African Americans who fought in the wars that we have had. The fact that the 784th, the 761st, the 555th, the 369th, you know who I'm talking about, were recognized is very, very important. The Veterans Braintrust, which was initiated by Sergeant Rangel, I call Charlie Rangel Sergeant Rangel because that was his rank in Korea when he led those troops to safety after being isolated and won the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart. That is why Charlie Rangel is so dedicated to veterans. Now, the Veterans Brain Trust, which I've attended many, many times before, has two major purposes. One is recognition of the contributions of African Americans to the military, and you've just done that. John Amos did a wonderful job of recognizing and introducing black units. But the equally important part of this, and probably right now more important, is the advocacy for the needs of black veterans. Veterans in this country are not respected in the way they should be. Many times they have to fight an unpopular war, but we don't need to take it out on those who fight the war. We need to support them when they come home, support them while they're there. That is a very, very important part of our role. Service to veterans is based on three things. One is money, funding. The Secretary talked about that. The second is attitudes, the attitude of the public to recognize and support our veterans. And the most important part is what we're doing today, awareness. Awareness of the issue. The issue in this country is that veterans are not respected as they should be, veterans are not supported as they should be, and veterans do not get the service they should have. And one of the purposes of the Congressional Black Caucus is to be political. And the way in which you change things is with what? The political process. That means advocacy. That means letting people know what the issues are, letting them know the importance of it, and letting them know that we support our veterans and the other people who have supported our country. So therefore, I have just two things to say in that regard, maybe three. We can, we must, and politically we will. Thank you very much.
Now, you know, my job gets easier and easier as we talk about the next phase, the next 20 years for the Veterans Brain Trust. And I've heard many people say, well, one of the things they'd like to see happen is it get institutionalized, that it becomes an institution, or that we should get a congressional charter so that way we have a seat at the table in the legislative process and can testify around budgetary issues in the House Veterans Affairs Committee and these things. But, you know, usually when you talk about incorporating a group or you talk about institutionalizing an idea, you have to have bylaws, goals and objectives. Well, I think that collectively, Roscoe and others over these have given all that to us. That, hey, this is the goal. That this is what you should be doing. It is a political process. You need to be politically engaged. You need to work with your Congress people. You need to be an advocate. And I want to add to his comment that for those that might need what they call reiteration or reinforcement about what an advocate, what the word advocacy means. All right, now everybody's clear. Same definition. An advocate is someone who speaks for a person who cannot speak for themselves. Right? Those people that don't feel that this is worthwhile enough for them to come to Washington, or that the system is broke and they just don't believe in it no more. They don't have faith. They don't have hope that things are going to get better. Right? They're not politically engaged. Right? Our job as advocates is to speak for them. They've served. They've earned the right. Right? So, yeah, when you say that, the other part is, I often hear people talk about in these organizations when they're going through downsizing, or corporations when they're trying to figure out why they're not meeting their bottom line. They talk about core values. You ever hear that? They go back, they do this whole introspective thing with the group and say, well, what are our core values? Right? They want to identify what are our core values. Well, one of the things that he just brought out, which I'm clear on, is recognition and acknowledgement. Is a core value of the Veterans Braintrust. And why is that? Why is that important? Because it has something to do with self-esteem, self-concept, some kind of social work talk, social work, psychology, psychiatric talk. Yeah, self-esteem, how you feel about yourself. Do you feel worthy? Do you have worth? Do you have value? All right, so yeah, recognition and acknowledgement is a critical part of what we do. And we can't do it often enough, as far as I'm concerned, and I am criticized for that sometimes. They say, Ron, you just want to do the easy stuff now. You want to give awards out, have stars come in, have a good time. And I confess, you're right. That's what I want to do. I want to acknowledge the service of our folks. Because if someone were to ask me over the 20 years, Ron, you've been here since the beginning with Emil and others, what would you say you've learned over 20 years of doing this? If someone were to ask me, mind you, if someone were to ask me, no one has asked me, but so I'll just tell you. There's an interesting thread that has run between, because we've done forums on lots of joblessness, full employment for vets, community service, World War I, World War II. We don't do it all chronologically all the time. We do it kind of topic areas. I said, but the thread that has run between, through a lot of the testimonies is the lack of public acknowledgement and recognition for our folks. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to reinforce what Dr. Brown has said. And with that, I'm going to bring up for our benediction, because I learned a long time ago that forums in Washington that start out with an invocation and end with a benediction is a blessed occasion. Without further ado.
Usually, for the benediction, we stand, but because you are used to being in formation, I'm going to ask you if you stand, and if you can kind of make a little movement like we're on the line, that'll give me the rhythm I need for my benediction. All right. Get on the path, get on the path. Get on the path. I'll meet you there. Let's get on the path and stay on the path. The Lord will meet us there. to soothe our feet from the rocky road, to lift the weight of our heavy load, to wipe the tears from our weary eyes, to gather all nations for a peace sunrise. Get on the path, get on the path, get on the path. I'll meet you there. Let's get on the path and stay on the path. The Lord will meet us there. Job got on the path and the path got hard. His wife cried out, why don't you curse your God? So-called friends scandalized his name. He waited patiently until deliverance came. Esther the queen, oh what beauty and grace, heard of a plot to destroy her race. She fasted and prayed, what path shall I take? I'll take the path of courage for my people's sake. Martin Luther King, prophet, preacher, and priest, laid down his life for the last and the least. Love in his heart, hope in his hand, gave him promise to the promised land. Can you see the path set before us today? Do you hear the call to the peace and justice way? Open your heart to the spirit above. Join the great profession to the city of love. Now get on the path and get on the path. Get on the path. I'll meet you there. Let's get on the path and stay on the path. The Lord will meet us there. Amen.
Hey, hey. All right. I just listen. As we wrap up, I just want to remind people from 1:30 to 4 o'clock in the adjoining room, we are having a roundtable discussion. From 6 o'clock this evening to 9 o'clock at the Grand Hyatt Hotel, 11 H Street, we are having a reception and award ceremony. Not to be confused with the DoubleTree. The Grand Hyatt Hotel, 11 and 8th Street, 6 to 9, Constitution Room. Please join us. Please support the rest of today's program. And thank you. Northwest, yes. Hey, after all these years of communicating with you, you're one of our awardees.